plea and failed. And cue up the Madonna. Michael Avenatti and Stormy Daniels go Vogue. This is in Vogue magazine. Wonder why they're both wearing blue. Joining me now to break it all down is Republican commentator Jen Kerns and Democratic strategist Basil Smikle. Thanks so much.
Good to be here.
I know you were looking at that Vogue picture and saying to yourselves, it's a weird time in America. Isn't it, Basil? It's just weird.
There's that blue wave, right? Listen, I don't take anything for granted anymore. I think, but I do think we need to be real serious about what the implications are for our country in the next couple of years. I know Mr. Avenatti's thinking about running for president, or so he said, or so others have said around him. But I just think that that's just such a bad idea. We got to be focused on some real pertinent issues that are important to working people in this country.
Then, Basil, you'll be really happy because there's a very long accompanying article. There's a photo spread and then the article in Vogue. And I just want to, honestly, I read it. And this is part of what the article said. This is from Stormy Daniels. My fan base is completely different, Daniels tells me later. This is the reporter. The middle-aged white men who used to populate her shows and buy her movies, now those guys are just gone. In their place has sprung the so-called resistance, women, gay couples, immigrants, and other assorted liberals who despise Trump. It's pretty much these packs of women, and they are angry. And Jen, Stormy Daniels goes on to say that women are much better tippers than the men ever were.
Well, we as women are more compassionate. Look, I'm not sure exactly where Stormy Daniels was going with that. She's almost suggesting that she has, democratized porn or something. The problem here for Stormy Daniels and Michael Avenatti, though, just purely by the numbers, as someone who has lived and died at the ballot box by the numbers, as Basil can tell you as a former party chair as well. Look, those middle-aged men, the white males, have indeed gone over to Donald Trump because they cared about the issues. And those are things like jobs, bringing products back to America, bringing manufacturing companies back to America. Those are the Trump voters. So in some regard, she is right. But boy, as you said, only in America could we see this. In fact, that looks like an inauguration ball gown.
Yeah, it does, actually. Yeah, that's right.
It does. It's so strange. All right, it's time to get serious. Mr. Trump has tried to turn the corner on John McCain and the lowering of the flag. Will this have lasting impact, Basil?
I think it just adds to his broader narrative, but the passing of John McCain does have lasting impact because what that does is it's another sort of moderating force in the Senate gone from us. And so I think the checks on Donald Trump in this chamber are diminished considerably, and certainly as well in the House when you put together so many of the retirements of members of Congress. But I think it just consistently adds to the narrative. I've just been seeing a lot of people on Facebook and Instagram saying, just for the record, I don't want Donald Trump at my funeral either. So I think this is. I do think this is part of a broader concern that people have about his ability just to relate to people and relate to people that pass laws in this country.
Lindsey Graham said something interesting this morning, Jen. He said McCain's romantic ideal of republicanism is gone. What do you suppose he meant by that, Jen?
Well, I think Lindsey Graham was talking about that sort of maverick spirit, but what I think has been very clear is that maverick spirit has sort of evolved into the group of people who supported Trump, and those were sort of the Tea Party group that felt forgotten over the 8 years of Barack Obama. But I want to say one thing in defense of President Trump on the flag-lowering ceremony. It was President Dwight Eisenhower in 1954 that actually released the guidelines for when flags should be lowered and when they can be raised back up. And that guideline, which has been followed by every president since Dwight D. Eisenhower, states that the president is only required to lower the flag on the date of the U.S. senator's death and the day after. And so President Trump really was following that protocol. And I think people are unusually harsh on President Trump because they simply don't like him, and they really criticize him for putting it back up.
I think what the Wall Street Journal pointed out that the president felt that the media was making too much of John McCain's death. They were treating John McCain's death in a presidential way, and that's why the president decided to raise the flag after lowering it for a couple days.
I think he was just following protocol, Carol. But look, one thing I've given President Trump credit for on a lot of things, and I will point out when he's wrong, but one of the things he's able to do, and I think we have to give him credit for this, is he does come back to the table and he doesn't mind changing his mind. And he did that in this case. He lowered the flags back down, and I think we got to give him credit for that.
This is a rare thing for Mr. Trump to change his mind.
Well, it's funny that he's adhering to protocol here, but nowhere else in anything he's ever done politically does he adhere to any type of protocol. That just seems a little weird to me. But yeah.
Well,
okay.
I do think that pressure from the American Legion probably swayed the president to change his mind.
Certainly.
That's the most powerful veterans group in the country, right? And it said, you know what? We have to honor John McCain as the war hero he was. So
Absolutely.
Can we agree on that?
Yes, we can agree on that.
Okay. Jen Kerns, Basil Smikle, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lawyers for one of the